Welcome back to MeetAdvisors. Welcome back to our veteran series here. I'm here with Eric Sucharski with Victory Media and continuing our series talking about veterans in transition, talking about veteran business experiences, transitioning skills from in the service to out of the service. So Eric, thank you so much for joining us here
Thanks
today.
for having me, Kit. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. Eric, tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Well, I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, kind of small town up in between Cleveland and Buffalo, and just grew up in a middle class family there, so I'm a Western PA guy.
Nice. Now, when you got what compelled you to join the military?
Well, actually, I had a really unique. I don't know if it's unique, but it's kind of a different path. I have family who were prior military, but I didn't have a focus on getting in the military. But I was actually I was a recruited runner of all things. And I had a Naval Academy recruiter kind of approach me, and that kind of started the thing. And in 1986, when I graduated, Top Gun came out. So who didn't want to, be Goose, in Top Gun? So it kind of, between that and just, looking at, I grew up in a Catholic disciplined household, and I saw the rigors of the military and thought it'd be a good fit, and I'm glad I made the decision.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, and you went to the academy.
I did.
When you got out of the academy, what were some of the jobs, some of the missions that you took over as a naval officer?
Well, the first thing that I did, my first experience as a naval officer, I was a weapons officer on board a ship, a fast frigate, out of Mayport, Florida. I got to do a couple of deployments and got to do some really unique things, and that was for about 3 years. And then after that, I was selected as an admiral's aide, which is really, in layman's terms for civilians, you're a personal assistant to a general or an admiral. And I did that for a couple of years. And then my last tour of duty before getting out of the Navy, I was an instructor at a school in Newport, Rhode Island that trained new officers who were getting ready to go out into the Navy fleet on board ships, teaching them seamanship, navigation, communication, and just basic skills in order for them to, succeed in the Navy in their first job.
What were certain aspects of the Navy that you enjoyed or had a passion for?
Well, that's a great question, and there are a lot of things, and even to this day I do miss the camaraderie, the diversity of the military. I mean, it truly is a global force, and a kid from Erie, Pennsylvania, up on the lake. I got to see a lot of the world. I got to serve with and for some amazing people. And so that, the military really is a family. And you being an Army, veteran, I mean, it really is a family. You know as well as I do, only 1%, people don't realize only 1% of the United States population is a veteran. So it's a very, a close-knit community. And I do miss that because, it can be a rat race out in the civilian world and you can get lost in it. But there's a level of, just again, camaraderie that I do miss and I did enjoy.
So Eric, with what you're doing, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of get into how you got there. But what are you doing now?
Well, presently I'm working for a company called Victory Media, and the company's been around for about 13 years now. It was actually founded by a classmate of mine, Chris Hale from the Naval Academy. And when I got out in the late 90s and he got out, a little bit thereafter, corporations and colleges and universities really weren't talking about hiring veterans or bringing veterans on campus. It wasn't something that was really in vogue. And he saw an opportunity, again, 13 years ago, to try to create a marketplace, really, for corporations and schools to connect with transitioning veterans. So we really don't focus on veterans like you and I. There's a lot of wonderful organizations around the country that are seeking to help all veterans. We really are focused on the 25 to 30,000 men and women that are on the verge of getting out of the military each month. So we have print, digital media. We've got a brand that's called Military Friendly, employers and schools. And again, it's really to create a place where men and women in the military can find employers and schools and have an affinity to bring them on board their institution or organization. So that's what I'm doing right now. Part-time, I'm actually going to law school, kind of a lifelong dream of mine, and I finally have had an opportunity to do that. So I go to law school here in Loyola, and I do some other things to keep myself out of trouble. So, yeah.
With what you're doing now, how do you feel your military experience prepared you to succeed what you're doing today?
Well, the military provides a high level of organization, accountability, discipline and responsibility. And it really, no matter what I've ever done in my life, every experience that I've had in the military surrounding those types of things really has helped me succeed. And really, people throw those terms out kind of a lot, but really, when you take a look at the military structure and that there's a defined mission, and the objective is not to fail. And I think if you bring that into your personal life, where if there's something you need to do in the corporate space, you set yourself some goals and objectives. Failure is not an option, and really what you do is if Plan A doesn't work, you got to have a backup. Every military mission has a backup, and I think every approach to things that you're doing in your personal life and your corporate life, you need to have a backup plan, and all moving in the direction so hopefully you can succeed.
With different aspects of those veterans in transition, and maybe a little bit more on that backup plan, what piece of advice would you give for a veteran in transition right now that maybe they're thinking about re-upping, maybe they don't have that option due to downsizing, depending on what aspect of the service you're in today, that could very well be coming your way, despite how awesome you are and the service that you gave. It's a reality of the world that we're going to a smaller military. What advice would you give?
Well, that's a good question. And, looking back, number one, I think present day, our society is seemingly doing a much better job of understanding the military culture. So, for example, back in the late 90s when Victory Media was founded, a human resources person at a corporation probably didn't really know how to read a military resume. Because if you're 17, 18, you go into the military and that's all you've known, your only experience other than maybe working at, some kind of a, high school type job is the military. So that's your resume. Present day, I think corporations are doing a really good job understanding the military. But as far as planning in the military folks, servicemen and women do a really good job of planning for the mission. And I really don't think even in this day, the military does a good enough job of enticing people to plan for their future. Everyone has a military plan. Some people go in knowing they only want to do 4 years. Sometimes they go in wanting to do 20. Those people that went in wanting to do 4 may end up doing 20. Those people who went in wanting to do 20 may end up doing 4. So my point is, do some research, spend some time and look into what kind of things you may want to do in the civilian community if the military doesn't work out. And last but not least, it seems to me like there are a lot of folks who get out of the military, especially younger men and women, who have financial challenges. And I think, especially with your background in the financial field, I don't know that the military does as good a job as they could promoting, especially in the young service members, the need to start saving and planning for their financial future. Because there's a lot of benefits, as you know, in the military financially that you don't get out here. So I think that's also important.
Outstanding. Eric, we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate that feedback. I definitely echo what you said on the financial front. There are a lot of guys that do get behind the ball, and to a certain extent, they don't know any better, and to a certain extent, they need to learn or be taught. Getting courses of action succeed to make their transition smoother, and be able to further leverage the benefits they have available to them. Well, Eric, if someone is watching this, they're looking to learn more about Victory Media, more about the resources that you provide. Maybe they're getting out in 3 months, maybe they're getting out next year. Where can they find more information that you provide and content from Victory Media?
Okay, well, the first stop I would say is our website, www.victorymedia.com. And there's also www.militaryfriendly.com. And we also have something for military spouses as well, militaryspouse.com. So we have a wide range of media. Also, I'd like the audience to know that our media, our print media, gets put into the hands of every single service member that is in the midst of leaving the military for free during their transition course. So when you leave the military, the federal government mandates a transition course, and it's to try to help people, transition out of the military back in the civilian community. Our media hits them then. So they use our GI Jobs magazine in order to find that corporation or find that school that we've designated as a military-friendly institution. And that's how they start the process of trying to whittle down what their options might be post-active duty service.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Eric.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to our friends here at Mabley and River North. Thank you to MeetAdvisors. For more interviews from veterans in transition, veterans that can give you experience and courses of action to consider in your transition, come find us at MeetAdvisors.com. I'm Kit Lancaster with GCG Financial. Thank you.